This is the church that started the whole hog.
It's important to know that this place was functional when I got here, before the fight. Sometimes they will come in and shoot and break things, just destroy it and leave, from door to furniture, to ceilings and everything.
Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon, sir.
We are of the Diaspora Digital Media, and I think we know why we are here.
Yes.
But before we go on, just give us a quick introduction of yourself.
Okay.
A brief one.
My name is Lady Patsy Onuorah. I am the daughter of Chief Francis Onuorah late, and also late Chief Mrs. Juliana Onuorah, my mother. And their only child, and as I have earlier said, they are both late. We just had a burial service of my mother in December of 2004. So I am actually resident in the United States. I have 3 children, and I'm here in and out, mainly because of the tragedy my parents suffered over the relationship with the Catholic Church Society. To be more specific, the Archdiocese of Onitsha, known as the registered trustees of the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Onitsha. It's a long story.
Thank you very much.
But I came here because I was called by my mother before she passed on a few years ago to please come and try to rescue certain situations she found herself in right after my father's death with the Catholic Archdiocese of Onitsha, under the leadership of Cardinal Arinze, Archbishop Valerian Okeke, and the priests and societal members they chose as their agents to perpetrate their plan, which you have seen the evidence of around here. The plan was devastating, and the sole aim of the plan is to acquire everything my parents had worked for in these premises that you've seen, comprising of the popularly known Our Lady's Butter bread industry that produced Our Lady's bread and other things. The Our Lady's education system, comprising of a secondary school, Our Lady's Comprehensive Secondary School, Our Lady's Model Primary and Nursery School, Our Lady's Farm, Our Lady's Hospital and Maternity, and other businesses, the textile industry, the Domestic Science Training Center, and others. The water factory, Our Lady's Pure Water Factory, to mention the ones I can now. And at a point, my mother saw what she never envisioned in her life, and out of desperation, the fact that it was happening after the loss of my father, and the only child she has was not around, she had a distress call at about 5 a.m. in the morning, Los Angeles, California time, that actually brought me here. I responded to that call, and then I started seeing things unfold which you are going to learn more about. Thank you very much for coming.
Lady Patricia Onuorah, daughter and only child of late Chief Francis and late Chief Mrs. Juliana Onuorah, a woman who lived peacefully in the United States with 3 of her children before she had the call from her mother, a distress call at that, to come over and rescue the family from, wait for it, clergymen. Anyway, the story goes, according to Lady Onuorah, the parents suffered in the relationship with the registered trustees of the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Onitsha under the leadership of Cardinal Arinze, Archbishop Valerian Okeke, the priests and societal members. She stated that she was called by her late mother to come over to rescue the family from the situation she found herself with the above-named Catholic Archdiocese. Lady Onuorah said the sole aim of the devastating plan was to acquire everything her parents had worked for, including the popularly known Our Lady's Buttered Bread industry that produced Our Lady's Bread. Also, Our Lady's education system, which had Our Lady's Comprehensive Secondary School and Our Lady's Model Nursery and Primary School. They also had Our Lady's Farm, Our Lady's Hospital and Maternity, Our Lady's Pure Water Factory, and other businesses like the textile industry, palm processing center, and the domestic science training center. One could easily tell that the family was blessed. According to her, the problems began just after the death of her late father. The businesses were forced to rot due to the intrusion of the trustees of the Catholic Archdiocese of Onitsha. Lady Patricia Onuorah said the palm oil processing factory was producing 30 gallons of oil per day when it was functioning, because it worked with a farm in Owenokwe town in Mbako, as trailers brought loads of palm kernels for processing, so that the workers were very busy at the time. She said the workers were chased away by the trustees led by Archbishop Valerian Okeke under the leadership of His Eminence Cardinal Arinze. She claims she has documented evidence.
Okay.
Yes. As you see this place, it was very productive. It was doing about 30 gallons of palm oil in a day when it was functioning in its maximum capacity, because there was a farm, a very big farm in Mbako town, Owelokwe town, at Mbako near Oka, where we have palm trees all over the place, acres of land, and trailers will bring the palm kernels down here for processing. So the individuals working under this unit were very busy. You can see the hostel in front of you. And so it was a very lucrative business, but it's now down to nothing, because all the workers were chased away.
Just away by who?
By the registered trustees of the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Onitsha, led by Reverend the Archbishop Valerian Okeke, and under the leadership of His Eminence the Cardinal to start with. And whatever I tell you, I have documented evidence of everything I said.
It's all noted.
Yes.
Diaspora Digital Media, led by its general manager, Mr. Tim Elumba, was taking round the hostel accommodation for the workers of the palm oil processing factory, which obviously looked abandoned and dilapidated, with overgrown bushes and signs that armored cables leading to the transformer had been vandalized and stolen, among other things.
According to Madam Onuorah, this used to be the hostel of the people working at the palm processing plant over there. This used to be their living quarters. They were, according to her, they were chased away and they were forced to flee for their dear lives. The place has been practically abandoned to rot away. No sign of life for the past few years. The whole place has been even vandalized. The little structure here has been vandalized. According to Madam, the cables leading to the transformer over there have also been vandalized.
Plants.
The plants vandalized, uprooted and removed.
Monsignor Akam and his group, not the transformer, but the plants that were here, the gadgets, everything, changeover and all, were taken away by Monsignor Akam, Tansian University.
He also took the team round the hospital and maternity and the buildings that once stood as the educational centers.
Section here is Our Lady's Hospital and Maternity, and it goes from here and stretches out all the way in this I'll say W line house to the extreme end. So this whole premises is part of the hospital, was part of the hospital, and when we were attacked here, we had full hospital equipment in every room, but we came back to air conditioned, stolen, everything stolen. Nothing was left for us to initiate services here. This had already stopped before the attack of the Catholic Church because of sabotage, which we later saw as evidence in their communication with Oliver Oya, the so-called secretary. Actually, he was a self-made secretary. My mom never made her a secretary. He came into this place from one brewery industry and came actually to marry my mother's maid by name Martina Igwe, as arranged by the Catholic priests of the Holy Trinity. And my mother had no clue, but with time, because Mama was in dire need of someone she could trust with her typings and administrative duties, she started leaning towards him because he was able to read very well. He could type, but he actually came here as the pianist for St. Teresa's Society, from which that Monsignor Akam thought that my mother's name was Teresa. You see?
Yep.
So the guy was secretary and pianist for St. Teresa's Society, and they chose this place as their annual meeting place. Mother accepted, but with time, their behavior unfolded enough to expose their original plans, which not Not just that we found out, but we have documented evidence as to how all these things came about. Why that Oliver came into this company. I married my mother's maid, beloved maid. They were like mother and daughter, very close to each other. And through that Oliver was able to penetrate Mama's documents and made them available to the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Onitsha. All the contracts, agreements, Mama's sea of gold properties that this Oliver stole away and set aside for the church has been recovered.
Wow.
From their having to live here without notice during this fight, because they were not aware that anybody could put up a resistance of any type in their taking this place. So at some point, the Oliver ran away from here with the wife. And the search I had with Ogidi police people, by that time people had started, the truth had started unfolding. And the set of police that we met at that time were more approachable. And they were not too quick to turn us away as the previous ones that were ill-educated by the church. So the truth started unfolding and they became interested in finding the truth. And from there, one time, so much money was missing. And I was sure that it was that Oliver's wife that stole the money. So I actually, to guide you well, Mama was visited by a widow, as always, that needed only 2,000 naira. 2,000. But usually, this Martina Igwe, Oliver's wife, Oliver Bonya's wife, was in charge of every cash that came to Mama. But instead of giving it to Mama or putting it in Mama's bank, it will be routed. Majority of it will be routed to his husband for their private use. What was routed to the church, I can't tell you exactly, but some did. Then, whatever Mama will get will be just enough to pay workers when she signed the check, and she'll have nothing again. These were my findings and documented and evidenced. So, that day, my mother was frustrated. How is it that I don't even have 2,000 to give this widow? She called for me. And I called the Martina. I said, Mama needs 2,000. And you're saying there's no money in this compound. Okay, let me go to the school and see if the school bossa can help me. That the dollar I came back with, I had exchanged most of it that were changed to naira. That what I had left was dollar, but Mama needed 2,000 now. So I went to the school bossa, and the school bossa said, no, that cannot happen. 2 children paid 60,000 for boarding house. And I collected school fees and I gave them to Martina this morning around 10 o'clock. And at this point, it was around 11 o'clock that Mama was looking for the money. What could have happened to that cash that she couldn't have given Mama 2,000? So I went back to the Martina to express what the bossa was telling me. And before I could finish the sentence, the bossa was right there behind me, stating the same fact in front of my mother. So she was asked to go and get that money. She said it was no more because she had gone to the market and used it. To buy what? You haven't left the house. We're all here. When did you go to the market? It turned out that the husband had already taken the money and left for wherever. They're from Mbise. So I said, I called my lawyer then, Barrister Mrs. Ejikeme, Ebele Ejikeme. I said, get over here, please. I don't understand what is going on here. I need to search this lady before she goes anywhere today. This is too much. So she quickly came and questioned her a little bit and took off and went to Ogidi and came back with a search warrant. We went to her room. We saw one of these ladies' purses that has like a crossing lock. So you just push it this way and it pops open. We opened it. It was packed with cash. Cash stuffed. It couldn't even close back. So we brought it out in the living room. By then, the police that gave the search warrant came with that barrister services. It came from Ogidi to Mama's living room. Now, they demanded in front of the Martina the purse, and then went into her room, lifted mattresses and stuff, chairs, cash everywhere. We brought it out in the parlor. Mama was sitting by the dining chair. We poured it on the floor, and she was commanded to start counting it. She arranged the money, counted them, and came with 600,000 and some fraction. It will be in the report.
And that will be in what year?
That was around 2013.
12 years ago.
So she called her daughter, excused herself to go and see her doctor. Her daughter was living with the husband, is still living with the husband at Asaba. The girl came with accusations of all types, insulting me, that we're maltreating the mother and all whatnot. By the time I sat her down, because I helped in babysitting that child, it was a baby to me to be talking to me the way she was talking to me because of the footage the parents had given them. So I talked to her then and explained to her what transpired and said, if your mother wanted to go to the hospital, she should have called you earlier. And she said that now it's, the mother said it was January, that it's January that since I came, my mom has been maltreating her too. Nothing like that ever happened. So what did I do? I don't come between the two of you. And she said, okay. For example, she wasn't giving any Christmas present. I said, oh no, you can't say that. I gave you 100,000 cash. Mama gave you money. And now you're claiming in front of your daughter, besides the gifts and bags of rice and other things, you're making this claim. The daughter turned around and said, Mama, is this true? She said yes, she was given that. And Mama demanded her bank statement, and there was a 400,000 deposit from Mama into her account. With this shame, she asked the doctor to please take her away from here to go for some medical treatment, and we never saw her again till today. You believe that? The closest person to my mother. That was when more facts got exposed, because we had to use the same warrant into her own private room. The room we found this other money was the room she stays by next to Mama for better service in case Mama needed her and calls out at night, you know. But whenever she goes home to her husband and where all her children were, they have a second home next to our building. So we went to that building. That's where I saw Mama's documents. And where the husband was signing different, like she was signing. It wasn't quite, he would drop it.
Experimenting.
Yes, and never got rid of them. You see? So I collected that, brought them to Mama. You will also see Mama's properties. She will cross the name on the plan and put the wife's or his and sell it. I have that evidence too. Even some that we have not evicted the people living on there or the people they were sold to. But it's something to be addressed if we have life, life first. So they made a plan, brought the bishop physically in here. With a Form 48 and 49, they served I and my mother. That bishop was coming to claim his property, and that if they see us around, they assume that we're disturbing the bishop and it's jail time. The lawyer advised me to take my mother out of the premises and to leave the place too. We did that. They came in with the bishop, but we had secret cameras, and we also have a physical person taking pictures hidden. The bishop came so that we could see everything for ourselves, and we watched the video. Came in his regalia with chain and sword and all that, under the guidance of Oliver, the same Oliver that we hadn't seen since he ran away. And they were making claims. They had a surveyor marking the area Bishop is claiming. At this time, they have gone from claiming the whole place. In their claim, they marked the factory as what was the word? Supplemental in their petition. Supporting projects to quote them. The factory, the school was supporting projects. Mama's businesses were supporting projects for the basilica they actually after. The church that Mama built for the students and workers. So we saw such evidence. And in this time that they brought the surveyor to now reduce their claim from the whole place to the area, now leaving their supplemental or supporting projects locations and moved up closer that way. The Oliver was guiding them. We saw videos of how they did it, and we stayed away for 2 weeks, and I brought my mother back. And now we use what we saw and what they were doing to repetition and fight what they came to do in court. That time we were out. It was just the church officials, Oliver and their agents. Our workers in every unit had vacated this place. They all ran for their lives. Now, Oliver brought, according to the security people we positioned here, trucks behind and in front of the house and gathered everything in their room, throwing some over the fence, and the trucks were picking them up, some in the front to confuse the people that might tell us anything, not knowing that we were also called that they were operating from behind the wall, carrying their stuff to Owerri. But by then, I had collected most of the official documents that belong to us and stored them away. Then we cleaned out the apartment and saw more stuff. Too much. Then we realized that this Oliver had 5 different offices, secret rooms in this compound that he was operating out of without my mother knowing. So that in case you searched his home, you will not see the things we found in these other offices and locked cabinets. In remote areas where you will never suspect that someone will be in such a place and use such an area as an office. So that's how he left that Oliver till today. Mama never saw them again. I never saw them except that Oliver came to court when Mama is present. But the wife, that's like her second half. Never till she passed away. That's how the relationship. That will take us to another issue where that's Oliver and the wife were using fetish stuff they were putting in my mother's food to slowly kill her. A different issue. Yes.
Lady Onuorah said the changeover switches and some other gadgets were taken away by Monsignor Akam of Tanshan University, who she said lived in the accommodation at the time.
Either living with them or living after them. Okay, on this note.
May I remark that these security bars, as you can see, I put them on newly. They left with everything that
you
was
can come
original.
over. Come here, please. So, okay.
Yeah, this is my startup in fixing the place and to make it usable again.
Okay.
The original ones that were here have been removed. The glass, all of that, the original protector, they are gone. All the electrical wire were pulled down, collected by them, they left with them. These are remnants of what they left. And they did so in every building at this area that they were trying to acquire fraudulently.
It's all right.
Onuorah said he had pleaded to stay at the accommodation while he was organizing his studies in school in Sonai University. Monsignor Akam, according to Lady Onuorah, said he lost his affiliation with Onitsha Diocese and went to Ikorekpene while he had the accommodation at the property of the Onuorahs, outside the commands of the Holy Trinity of Onitsha, the home of the registered trustees of the Archdiocese, on permission of her late mother, whom Lady Onuorah said never said no to priests whom she believed were men of God. Monsignor Akam had erected a statue of Mary, and on this basis, that Mary had stepped into the premises, his congregation, he felt, was immovable. This was his stand, according to Lady Onuorah, when she questioned his involvement in the premises and wanted to take over under false claims. This claim he laid on two of their premises, which also included the property, their main office at 57 New Market Road, Onitsha.
He used to live here. He came.
He used to live here.
Yes, he pleaded with my mother to spend time here while he was organizing his own school. That was Sonia University. And he was allowed. His excuse for wanting to live here was that he lost his membership or affiliation with Onitsha Archdiocese. Now, he went to Ikorekpene and became part of the priesthood there. So he was functioning on his own. He needed a place out of the commands of the Holy Trinity of Onitsha, which is the registered trustee of Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Onitsha. So my mother allowed him, as she usually says yes to every request from anybody wearing a white hazard, you know, to believe them as persons of God, men of God.
God sent.
Yes. So he had here a big statue of Mary here. At the time I questioned his involvement here and wanting to take over these premises with a false claim, he told me that for the fact that Mary lives here, has stepped out here, that his congregation or whatever is immovable. And he said that of two different addresses, the second one being our main office, number 57 New Market Road, Onitsha. So I told him that that was unheard of and that such practice will not be allowed at this place. That this is what is private property, and he will not come in and claim this place or any portion of this place under such false pretense.
Lady Onuorah said she was arrested twice, first to Abuja and then to the local police in Ogidi, with false claims that he had the premises as exchange for payment of her school fees abroad. She said there was no proof of such payments. Instead, it was her late mother who was training the staff of the Monsignor and also trained priests abroad, a ground which Lady Onuorah based her arguments over the claim of payments of her school fees, even during years she could care for herself. According to her, if her mother could pay and train priests abroad, why would she not be able to pay fees for her only child? Lady Onuorah said the Monsignor had presented before the court a document claiming he had purchased the property from a Madame Teresa Ukamaka Onuorah, contrary to what he had said about acquiring the property in exchange for payment for her fees abroad. Onuorah said the name stated was not her mother's name. She argued that it didn't add up that the Monsignor lived on the property for 16 years and didn't know the name of her late mother, the owner. Onuorah said her late mother led St. Teresa's Society and the property was the headquarters of the society. This, she said, formed the mistake in the alleged forgery by the Monsignor, who must have thought her late mother's name was Teresa. Ukamaka was also not her late mother's name. Instead, it was Uzoamaka. But it was said that the document had her late mother's signature. According to Onuorah, the mother could not read and was made to sign the document under the guise that she was accepting to be the mother of the day for a ceremony at Oba. Onuorah said she was around on holidays but never knew of such transaction. The Monsignor had, through this transaction, according to Onuorah, got a portion of the land as a purchase agreement for the land. She said upon questioning by the police in Abuja, she narrated the story and an investigation began. Her mother's brother, the Onowu of Agulu, pressed for further investigation. Upon discovery that the document was forged, the Monsignor's lawyers sought for a halt in the case because of the inherent crime in the case of forgery. Monsignor Akam, according to Onuorah, requested for the property to be given to him as an outright gift. Onuorah and her late mother refused. A second option was for him to take the land as a lease, promising to abide by whatever Onuorah and her mother had agreed. Onuorah said her lawyers gave the Monsignor papers to sign in agreement to leave their property alone. Monsignor's lawyer, unknown to her and her family, went to Ekulobia to continue the already terminated case, but it was dismissed at some point because it held no worth. The Monsignor later asked for permission to come to collect his personal belongings, and this was granted. The Monsignor later came while she and her mother and some relatives were on the property with 30 men, some of whom were lame, according to her, some policemen. They came to break doors and windows and carried away property, including bathtubs, security lights, washing basins, air conditioners, and so on, with a truck.
This guy actually had me arrested on 2 occasions. Once took me to Abuja, second time to local police office here at Ogidi with documents on how he acquired this place. First, he stated that he was paying my school fees and my mother gave him in dollar, and my mother gave him this place as an exchange to the funds sent to me in America. He had no proof of such. I've never heard of it, let alone receiving a penny from this man. But my mother was training his staff and a lot of priests under the Archdiocese of Onitsha overseas for schooling, medical attention, and things like that. If she could do all of that, I asked the guy, why wouldn't she be able to pay for her only child's school fees?
School fees, imagine.
And the years where I was in a position to be helping others, paying my own way, taking care of the needy, just like as my mother was doing down here. And my mother will pay other people's school fees in Rome, Italy, America, Europe, that are religious people, and not afford to pay the school fees of one child. What kind of charity was that? Does charity not begin at home?
No, of course.
Of course, she had to pay for my school fees first before any others. She had no other but me. Now, the evidence that this priest brought to Ogidi and to court was a document on how he purchased this place. After stating that he acquired it in exchange with my school fees, he had a purchase agreement contrary to what he stated. And the purchase agreement to purchase this property had a name, Madam Teresa Okamaka Onuorah, which wasn't even my mother's name. He was here for 16 years, free rent, free food for him and all his people, and didn't even know the name of the woman that was housing him. So he prepared a fake document with fake name, believing that my mother's name was Teresa, but my mother's name was Juliana. My mother was heading their St. Teresa's Society. He assumed that that society was named after my mother since the head office was here. Number one mistake. Number two, Okamaka instead of Ozamaka meant that he was just guessing a name, Onuorah. But the mischievous thing there, highest crime I've ever seen from a person of God like that, was that it had my mother's actual signature. So when I was asking my mother how your signature got on a document that didn't even have your proper name, she said, my daughter, I cannot read nor write. This man brought a piece of paper to me, an envelope, which they brought out a card, and on the card, there was an invitation to Oba, wherever he was starting an establishment there, at that Oba, and was telling my mother that she was to be the mother of the day in that celebration at Oba, and that signing that document was her acceptance to becoming the mother of the day at that activity at Oba. And I happened to be here on holidays, not knowing that such transaction took place. I traveled with my mother. I accompanied her to the ceremony. Little did I know that the man was actually taking my mother's vast land, a portion of it to say, as an exchange, as a purchase, a proof of purchase agreement. Or how do I put it?
Agreement
for the land. So that's how my mother's signature got there. So at one of the times I was arrested and being questioned at the police office at Ogidi and Abuja. I presented the story that I just told you. And upon investigation, the man, my mother, the brother was present too. I called them my uncles. My mother's brother, Onu of Hagon, was present and wanted to go further in the investigation. That was when they now got scared. Once the priest realized that he didn't even get my mother's name correctly and had his signature, her signature on the fake document, he became worried. I took it to an attorney. I had a lawyer immediately to represent us in this aspect. And he had his own lawyer. And I think at some point he was advised not to let this go further, because he had that lawyer prepare an agreement between us where he was asking us to stop the case and then tell him exactly what he wanted us to do with this place. Were we going to just reconsider him and have my mother give it as an outright gift to him? Of course, I said no. My mother said no. Second option he gave on that document was that he would take it as a leave if we give him. It was three options. And then he swore on the document that he signed that he would obey whatever choice we made as he obeys the Bible. Of course, we told him to sign what the lawyer had prepared, that he was going to walk away and leave our property alone. Then his lawyer went further, went to Ekulobia to continue the case that was terminated down here without our knowing, but eventually we were contacted. That suit also was dismissed at some point. It didn't go anywhere. It held no water. And he asked for permission to come here and collect his private belongings. We allowed him. He showed up here with about 30 men. Some of them were lame men, no legs, you know. They came here and were breaking doors, as you can see, broke windows. I have all the same day photographs.
And once again, you said his name is?
Monsignor Akam.
Monsignor Akam.
Yes.
All right.
I understand he's now late too, but everything was documented while he was still alive and present here.
Late at what age? Any idea?
Huh?
You know how old he was when he died?
Well, I have the brochure, or I can find the information.
Okay, all right.
It's somewhere in the house. So that's how that happened in this area.
Okay.
So they moved out in trucks. When I say trucks, trailer-sized things carrying both our property and theirs. And that was when they vandalized this whole place, our pure water area, and inside this place removed up to bathtubs, every window, every door, anything they could lose, sink, kitchen sink, nothing. This window, this house was left there.
Onuorah took the DDM crew round the property. She stated that the Monsignor is now late anyways. Onuorah said she alerted the authorities, but they had instructed all police officers, including the state CID Mike Okoli, against them. She said they also called a different outfit from Obosi, who captured the scene and arrested the vandals and took them to Officer Okoli. According to her, the guns used by the policemen that came with the vandals were new and tagged guns. Pump action, she said. While at Okoli's office, the officer received a call from Monsignor Akam requesting, supposedly from Monsignor Akam requesting the officer to frustrate the Onuorahs and get a reward later. Unfortunately, the phone was on speaker and it was too late to turn it off. This was now a case to be taken to the legal. She said she was surprised that the case never went to court as the arrested men were exonerated. She mentioned the influence of former IG of Police Michael Kiro, who she said was a friend of the Archbishop, to see that the case died prematurely, even after efforts to visit the former IG at his office and his home proved abortive. She said the case was filed in court, but it was never heard because the lawyers never showed up. She mentioned being sued as a criminal trespasser and she was asked to pay a fine of 100 million naira. She mentioned a Reverend Father Val and Reverend Father Elochukwu Mokwe and Reverend Father Benignus Ogwejofo, all from Holy Trinity, who stayed on their accommodation at different times. According to her, Reverend Father Benignus came to stay without their permission, but they still accommodated him. She further claimed that Reverend Father Benignus had, with the approval of the Cardinal, arranged the marriage of Mr. Oliver Aponye from Mbise to her late mother's maid, Martina Igwe, so they could have access to the family's documents in the custody of the maid. She said this was the confession of the said Oliver. Thus, Reverend Father Benignus was planted as the chief agent, according to her. She alleged that Father Benignus was a channel of bribery to the police and local vigilante groups used against the Onuorahs. According to her, this was how they got access to the documents which they falsified. Onuorah said statements from the local vigilantes and the ex-workers of the late Chief Mrs. Juliana labeled the catechist. They also stated how they got the guns and were caught in action and who sent them. Though Father Benignus never showed up in court. But after 10 years, a case which Justice Ndigwe of Ogidi was never going to be won by the Onuorahs over the Catholic Archdiocese of Onitsha in her court was getting clearer. According to Onuorah, media persons were around unknown to the lawyer when she made the comment, and the situation was published and made to go viral. This, according to her, was proof that none of the priests came to the property as a permanent place given to them. They were rather invited to come say masses and offer moral instructions to the Catholics among the staff and students. She quoted persons from the nation's newspaper and the Sun and Vanguard as the media persons she approached to give accurate information against the publication on a Catholic magazine, Trinitas. But these journalists, according to her, feared for their lives and distanced themselves. She, however, got other persons from Vanguard who helped her voice be heard.
Madam, please, if you don't mind, tell us, where were you when this carnage was being unleashed on this building?
I and Mama's workers and some relatives were actually present, including Lawrence that you met yesterday.
Present here?
We were standing here screaming and crying while his men were performing this atrocity. They came with armed police officers, and the one that was sitting with one of the drivers as they were leaving, we captured his face in uniform. I have that evidence, and I have the trucks that moved their property and ours here. Who were we to question those that were armed? We were just there, you know.
Did you not try to alert the local authorities?
I did, of course. I did. Remember, we had already been in their office. But at some point, they had instructed every police from area command to police to commissioner of police office to what you call it? A state CID. That was the name.
Yeah.
And the person then was Mike Okoli, to be specific.
Okay.
The police officer then, there was at that state CID that officiated this case then was Mike Okoli. And I sat with them. Even at the time, we called a different security people from Obusi. They came in and saw them live. They captured some of the guns. They are men. They are workers. But those workers were addressed as brothers. So they were novitiates or something like that for priesthood. They were seminarians, to be specific. And they had 5 guns besides the police officer. New guns. It was called pump action.
Mm-hmm.
That was what the police officer called the ammunitions they had. It had tags that they were bought either the day before, specifically for here. So they were all arrested, the guns confiscated by security men and taken to this Mike Okoli. And as we were in his office, it's good you asked me this question, because while we're at Mike Okoli's office, a call came in from that Monsignor Camp. And what Monsignor Camp said was, oh yes, there are some people there from Our Ladies in front of you. Take care of them. I'm coming to take care of you. You know, see what you do to frustrate them out of your office. But the phone was on speaker, and it was too late for that police officer to turn it off. We heard everything. So the police officer, Michael Coley, said, oh no, not this time. This is going straight to legal because it involves pump action. But he didn't disclose to him that I and my mother, Lawrence, and some of our family members were sitting right there. Let's see. So we also have pictorial evidence of that.
What happened after that?
The men were seated on the floor, but that was the end of it. By the time we got back again, they had turned the case against me instead. You know, they exonerated those people. How they do this type of thing, nobody knows. As every other...
The case never went to court.
Never went to court. Nothing we took to police. From that point on till today, went to police. You believe that?
But you have a lawyer.
From here to Abuja, yes.
And the lawyer couldn't